Don't forget to subscribe. Afterwards, the wisest and most spiritual books from the greatest authors await you every day. And now buckle up, sit back and we'll begin. The Tibetan Book of the Dead. Chapter 7. The Dharma Practice, Natural Liberation of the Instincts. This supplementary translation and the succeeding one in Chapter 8, The Natural Liberation Through Naked Vision, are included for the person who wants to make a long-term, systematic effort to prepare for the between-state practice. The Dharma practice is a contemplative visualization of the entire assembly of the 100 mild and fierce deities located within the contemplator's body. It is to be repeated frequently, with an attempt to visualize each deity, its appearance, its ornaments, its posture, and so forth. Slowly, over time, the deities will become more and more familiar. If one wants to make more substantial progress in this practice, one should seek a qualified teacher and receive initiation and further instruction. I also consider the practice to serve as a model for a practitioner of any other religious tradition, to invoke the deities, angels, and symbols of that tradition, to arrange them in a similar pattern in relation to the subtle patterns of the individual body, and to develop a deeper and more vivid familiarity in that way. This practice is a systematic visualization, an imaginative contemplation that aims to cultivate a positive inclination toward the mild and fierce deities of the natural liberation teachings. The idea is that the negative instincts toward lust, hate, delusion, and so on should be contemplatively replaced by the positive instincts of generosity, love, and wisdom, intensified by being personified by the archetype deities. A person who is concerned about eventually dying and who wants to prepare herself to use the Book of Natural Liberation with the greatest effect should use this visualization regularly. Of course, ideally a teacher should be sought, initiation should be received, and more detailed instructions about how to do this contemplation should be secured. Not expecting the reader to have accomplished those steps, I include this practice here to give some sense of how further to prepare to use the Book of Natural Liberation. The text is very dense with allusions to deities and their appearances and accoutrements. If I stop to comment on the symbolic meaning of all of them, this practice would fill another entire book. I include it to provide an overview. Precise grasp of all details will come only from your own further research. The mild all-good and fierce Kemchak deity hosts, and the host of the Union of the Holy 100 Clans reverently saluting them, being liberated in the between, may all beings abide in the reality of the three bodies. May those fortunate in evolution who have holy teachers contemplate and recite always without forgetting this brilliant Dharma practice, the union of the mild and fierce. The 10 branches of accumulating merit. All Tibetan contemplation practices begin with some version of these 10 branches, which are 1. Refuge, 2. Evocation, 3. Invitation, 4. Salutation, 5. Offerings, 6. Confession, 7. Congratulation, 8. Requesting teachings, 9. Requesting continuing presence, and 10. Dedication. All of these are deeds that can be physically performed during entire lifetimes of practitioners. In these contemplations, the practitioner rehearses them imaginatively in order to inculcate the pattern of the acts within the mind stream. They are rehearsed in the visualized presence of all the deities in a vast field of refuge in space, often in the pattern of jewel fruits growing on a giant wish-granting gem tree, known as the refuge field. Visualize in the space before you the refuge field, the 3 jewels and the 100 clan deities and say the following words. Refuge Aham. To the fabulous, mild and fierce blissful victors, the precious 3 jewels and archetype deities, along with oceans of angels and the oath-bound host, in the fabulous realms in the limits of space never abandoning till my total enlightenment, I reverently go for refuge. Aham are seed mantras that represent, respectively, the body, speech, and mind of all enlightened beings. The deities here invoked are all familiar, except the oath-bound host, who are mainly mundane deities who once dominated particular tribes or regions, and who have been tamed by a Buddha or great adept at some time in the past, then bound on oath to serve as protectors of practitioners of the teachings of wisdom and compassion. Evocation. From the vast and fabulous deep of the reality realm, emanating bodies of wisdom, art, and compassion, may the fabulous, mild and fierce deities of 3 times please come here for the sake of all beings. Invitation. In this pure wisdom sphere of apparent possibility, on thrones of jewel lions and so forth, on suns and moons of flawless art and wisdom, please sit with uncontaminated great pleasure. The deities are invited to be seated on jewel thrones, on cushions of sun and moon discs of radiant energy. Salutation. In the secret vulva of the all-good lady, the undissipated bliss of the all-good Lord playfully creates the mild and fierce deity host, fathers and mothers with their children. I bow down to all of them. As a way of praising the enlightened deities, the enlightened universe here is envisioned as contained within the drop of seed of the Divine Father, all-good Buddha, standing in perfect balance in the vulva of the Divine Mother. The all-good Mother Buddha, radiating its creativity in the forms of all the 100 deities of the mild and fierce hosts. Offerings. To the victor ocean of mild and fierce blissful lords, immeasurable outer, inner, and secret offerings, actually arrayed and mentally emanated, I offer for the sake of all, please accept them. Here you imagine the whole universe in front of the deities in the space before you, filled with huge clouds of offerings, sweet waters, perfumes, incenses, luscious foods, jewels, cloths, lights, elixirs, and every conceivable beautiful thing. The inner and secret offerings are constituted by your own self-habits of body and mind, offered up to the enlightened beings. Confession of sins. Beginninglessly influenced by the 3 poisons, my physical, verbal, and mental sins, along with their instincts, all gathering causes of cycling in the horrid states, repentantly regretting, I heartily confess. Repentance about and separation from your sins are considered important methods of diminishing their evolutionary impact. The point is not to wallow in guilt, but to face up to and then get free of mistaken deeds on all levels. Congratulations! In the great bliss world apparent throughout the truth realm, all altruistic deeds, merits, spirit of enlightenment, successes of merit and wisdom I congratulate with great joy. Congratulation is the opposite of jealousy. It is the most effective way to vicariously participate in the meritorious successes of others. Requesting teachings. May the teachers, as numerous as atoms in all universes, stir from their samadhis for being's sake, and please turn the holy wheels of Dharma, filling the realm with teachings to the ends of space. Request not to depart into nirvana. Until the cyclic world is free, accomplishing magnificently the aims of beings, may all the boundless Buddha teachers please remain without going into nirvana. Dedication by all my virtues of 3 times, may all beings filling all space become vessels of the unexcelled Mahayana, and swiftly reach the state of the fabulous Buddhas mild and fierce, enlightening, protecting, and purifying Aham Bodhicitta Mahasukha Dharatu. This mantra introduces the following visualization of the enlightened universe by pronouncing ritually by the body, speech, and mind of all Buddhas, Aham. May one uphold, Dharatu, the great bliss intuition, Mahasukha that is the spirit of enlightenment, Bodhicitta let it be creative. The mantra also accompanies the melting of the refuge field into light, and that light then melting into you. Rulu Rulu Hum Bio Hum. This mantra invokes the fierce female Dharma protector Shri Devi, who sets up a protection perimeter around the site of your contemplation. You then feel safe to dissolve your ordinary identity into voidness and arise out of voidness in archetype deity forms. The first practice is another preliminary, the Vajrasattva purification, wherein you visualize yourself as the archetype deity Vajrasattva, and you recite the cleansing mantra, known as the 100-syllable mantra. Vajrasattva purification. From the uncreated pure truth realm universe, in the palace of the ceaseless clear pure drop, on a jewel throne, on lotus, sun, and moon cushions, my mind, out of non-artificial freedom spontaneity, arises as Vajrasattva, self-aware bright void, one face clear white, 2 arms, smiling, right hand holding at heart, the conscious void Vajraceptor, left holding at hip, the appearance void Ganta bell, my crown the blissful 5 clan. Perfect Buddhas, adorned with the beatific body silks and jewels. I sit in sporting pose, right leg extended, left drawn in. At my heart, a Vajra hum syllable shines, surrounded by the turning 100 letters. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattanapadishta Drdho mi bhava sutashio mi bhava supashio mi bhava anurakto mi bhava sarvasiddhi mi prayaka sarvakarma sachim chittam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sarvatathagata vajra me muncha vajrabhava mahasamayasattva hum, radiating and reabsorbing light rays while reciting. I accomplish my own and other beings' aims and purify obscurations. I must repeat as much as possible without distraction this quintessence of the holy 100 Buddha clans to purify emotional and intellectual obscurations. The mantra is too long to translate in full here. It has meaning on many levels, from being a simple request to purify your sins and obscurations, to being the evocation of the seed quintessence of the 100 deities of the mandala. You recite it at least 21 times each session, visualizing the shining letters turning in an energy wheel at your heart center, radiating purifying rainbow rays to all beings, and then absorbing even brighter rays back into the letters from the joy beings feel as they feel more purified. The actual visualization. After thus purifying sins and obscurations, you should invoke and contemplate the mild and fierce 100 clan deity host in the body mandala, pronouncing the between prayer as follows. Self-creation. Then, myself as Vajrasattva, in the palace of my spiritual jewel heart, vivid in the 5 light ray drop with its 5 energy essences, in the mandala of clear brilliance having 5 wisdoms, on lotus, sun, and moon cushions on lion, elephant, horse, peacock, and eagle thrones, shine the 36 mild Buddhas in void, bright, ceaseless, rainbow light ray bodies. Remaining stable in the visualization of yourself as Vajrasattva, You now visualize the mild and fierce deities as radiantly present within the universe of your own body. Your spiritual heart means the infinitely expanded space within your central channel back near the spine, at the height of the breasts, not the physical heart on the left side. As Vajrasattva, you visualize your body as made of light, not of coarse flesh, blood, and bone. The mild deity interior mandala. Before visualizing the 5 Buddhas with their consort Buddhas in the center and 4 directions of the heart, east lies in front, south to your right, west toward your back, and north to your left, you visualize the primal Buddha and consort in the deep space of the center. The all-good Buddha Father Mother is not one of the 5 Buddhas, but the personified quintessence of the truth body of all Buddhas, visualized as present in the core of the soul, sealing your oneness with the universal ultimate reality of perfect freedom from the primordial beginninglessness of all time. Aham. In the deep space of the drop in the center of my spiritual heart, the changeless light body of the truth body, the primal savior all-good Samantabhadra, blue in color, in indivisible union with the white truth realm, all-good Samantabhadri, cross-legged in equipoise posture, sits on bright void lotus, sun, and moon cushions. To this great general ancestor of the 3 times Buddhas I bow, make offerings, take refuge, and pray. When I and others transit from life, just after leaving the body, when that pure, clear, reality light dawns, may Father Samantabhadra escort me from the front, and may Mother Samantabhadri support me from behind. Pray lead me to the state of all good indivisible. When you pray for the sake of a deceased person, you substitute the deceased so and so for I and others. Aham. The clear white Vairocana and Atvishvari sport in union, holding wheel and bell, and sit cross-legged at the center, bright and void. To the Lord of the Central Buddha clan, I bow, offer, take refuge, and pray. When I and others transit from life, just after leaving the body, when those reality between visions dawn, when I roam the life cycle through powerful delusions, on the light path of the bright truth realm wisdom. May Lord Vairocana guide my path. May Supreme Mother Datvishvari support me from behind. May they deliver me from the straits of terror of the between. May they carry me to perfect Buddhahood. From here on you visualize the 5 Buddhas, grouped with their consorts and male and female bodhisattva attendants in the center and 4 directions of your heart space. These should be visualized according to the descriptions of the mild deity groups in the reality between appearing on the 1st through the 5th days on this page. See color insert, plates 5, 6, 7, and 8. Aham. On the eastern petal of my spiritual heart, in the light space of the bright mirror wisdom, bright blue Vajrasattva sports with Lachana, holding Vajra and bell. They sit cross-legged, bright and void. On his right stands white Kshitigarbha holding sprout and bell, on his left, white Maitreya, holding Naga tree flower and bell. Before him dances white Lasya holding mirror and bell, behind him, white Pushpa, holding a flower. To these 6 members of the Vajra clan, I bow, offer, take refuge, and pray. When I and others transit from life, just after leaving the body, when those reality between visions dawn, when I roam the life cycle through powerful hate, on the light path of the bright mirror wisdom, may Lord Vajrasattva guide my path. May Supreme Mother Badalachana support me from behind. May they deliver me from the straits of terror of the between. May they carry me to perfect Buddhahood. Amaham. On the southern petal of my spiritual heart, in the light space of the bright equality wisdom, yellow Ratnasambhava sports in union with Mamaki. Holding jewel and bell, they sit cross-legged, bright and void. On his right stands yellow Samantabhadra holding garland and bell, on his left, yellow Akashagarbha, holding sword and bell. Before him dances yellow Mala holding a rosary, behind him, yellow Dupa holding incense. To these 6 members of the Jewel clan, I bow, offer, take refuge, and pray. When I and others transit from life, just after leaving the body, when those reality between visions dawn, when I roam the life cycle through powerful pride, on the light path of the bright equality wisdom, may Lord Ratnasambhava guide my path. May Supreme Mother Mamaki support me from behind. May they deliver me from the straits of terror of the between. May they carry me to perfect Buddhahood. Amaham. On the western petal of my spiritual heart, in the light space of the bright discriminating wisdom, red Amitabha sports in union with Pandaravasini. Holding red lotus and bell, they sit cross-legged, bright and void. On his right stands red Avalokiteshvara holding lotus and bell, on his left, red Manjushri, holding sword and bell. Before him dances red Gita holding a wheel, behind him, red Aloka holding a lamp. To these 6 members of the Lotus clan, I bow, offer, take refuge, and pray. When I and others transit from life, just after leaving the body, when those reality between visions dawn, when I roam the life cycle through powerful lust, on the light path of the bright discriminating wisdom, may Lord Amitabha guide my path. May Supreme Mother Pandaravasini support me from behind. May they deliver me from the straits of terror of the between. May they carry me to perfect Buddhahood. Amaham. On the northern petal of my spiritual heart, in the light space of the bright, all-accomplishing wisdom, green Amagasiddhi sports in union with Tara. Holding Vajra cross and bell, they sit cross-legged, bright and void. On his right stands green Sarvana Varanavaskamban, holding book and bell, on his left, green Vajrapani, holding Vajra and bell. Before him dances green Ganda, holding a skull bowl, behind him, green Nartya holding food. To these 6 members of the Action clan, I bow, offer, take refuge, and pray. When I and others transit from life, just after leaving the body, when those reality between visions dawn, when I roam the life cycle through powerful envy, on the light path of the bright all-accomplishing wisdom, may Lord Amagasiddhi guide my path. May Supreme Mother Tara support me from behind. May they deliver me from the straits of terror of the between. May they carry me to perfect Buddhahood. Amaham. On the eastern gate petal of my spiritual heart stand white Vijaya and Ankusha in union, in warrior posture. On the southern gate petal of my spiritual heart stand yellow Yama and Pasha in union, in warrior posture. On the western gate petal of my spiritual heart stand red Hayagriva and Sphota in union, in warrior posture. On the northern gate petal of my spiritual heart stand green Amritakandali and Ganta in union, in warrior posture. To the 8 emanated door guards, fathers and mothers, I bow, offer, take refuge, and pray. When I and others transit from life, just after leaving the body, when those relative between visions dawn, when I roam the life cycle through powerful instincts, on the light path of the bright 4 wisdoms in union, may these 4 fierce guardians guide my path. May the four great mother guardians support me from behind. May they deliver me from the straits of terror of the between. May they carry me to perfect Buddhahood. Aham. In the light deep of the great bliss lotus at my crown, in the mandala of the clear brilliance of the bright white drop, the white divine Buddha Indra stands with his guitar. May he cut off pride, the door of rebirth among the gods. In the light deep of my nape, in the mandala of the clear brilliance of the bright green drop, the green titanic Buddha Vemachitra stands with his weapon. May he cut off envy, the titan birth door. In the light deep of the crystal hole of my life channel at my heart, in the mandala of the clear brilliance of the bright yellow drop, the yellow human Buddha Shakyamuni stands with his mendicant staff. May he cut off lust, the human birth door. In the light deep of the coiling nerve wheel at my navel, in the mandala of the clear brilliance of the bright blue drop, the blue animal Buddha Simha stands with his book. May he cut off delusion, the animal birth door. In the light deep of the bliss source lotus at my secret place, in the mandala of the clear brilliance of the bright orange drop, the red pretan Buddha Jvalamukha stands with his box. May he cut off greed, the pretan birth door. In the light deep of the coiling nerve wheels on my foot soles, in the mandala of the clear brilliance of the bright black drop, the black hell Buddha Dharmaraja stands with his fire water. May he cut off hatred, the hell birth door. To the six Buddhas, emanation bodies accomplishing beings' aims, I bow, offer, take refuge, and pray. When I and others transit from life, just after leaving the body, when those existence between visions dawn, when I roam the life cycle through powerful instincts, on the light path of the bright four wisdoms in union, may the three upper Buddhas guide my path. May the three lower Buddhas support me from behind. May they deliver me from the light path of the impure six realms. May they carry me to perfect Buddhahood. Aham. The 42 mild deities blaze with light rays of spontaneous energy of clear brilliance, their bodies mild and youthful, soft, supple, tenderly alluring, beautiful, adorned with the signs and marks. To that mild deity host of the Vajra realm, I bow, offer, take refuge, and pray. When I and others transfer from life, just after leaving the body, when those reality between visions dawn, when I wander in the cycle through powerful five poisons, on the light path of the bright five wisdoms, may the mild fathers guide my path. May the consort mothers support me from behind. May the male and female guardians support me from the boundaries. May they deliver me from the straits of terror of the between. May they carry me to perfect Buddhahood. The scientist deity interior mandala. Aham. In this time of abiding in the life between, the 42 mild deities, in the palace of my body's spiritual heart, sit vividly in bodies made of the five lights. When I transfer from life, just after leaving the body, may the mild deities emerge from within my heart. May they arise and fill the space before me. With ornaments and equipment, lords and consorts countless in number stand in the vastness of rainbow light, in their bright, void, rainbow light ray bodies, with five wisdom light path, penetrating brilliance and five light drops, radiating sounds and rays. Naturally beautiful, clear, brilliant, lustrous, resonant, may they arise as if penetrating my heart. Along with those lights of the five wisdoms will come the impure six light paths of the six impure, erring ordinary life realms. At the time when they arise for me, May the compassionate lords of the mild deity host, sensitive, not weak in love, lead me on the path of the four wisdoms combined. May they bring me back from the path of the six impure realms. In the next 7 paragraphs, you conclude visualizing the mild deities, focusing on the 5 scientist deities with their consorts in the center and 4 directions of your throat center space. Please refer to the descriptions in the reality between for the 7th day, this page. Aham. In the palace of the beatific body wheel in the center of my physical throat, in the vast sphere immersed in rainbows and lights, in the center of the beatific wheel lotus, there is the clear, red, evolutionary great scientist, Padmanarteshvara, with 5 light ray brilliance, bliss void united with the red wisdom angel, manifesting in space, holding chopper and skull bowl. May the body scientist host protect all beings. Aham. In my throat beatific wheel's eastern petal, there is the clear, white earth abiding great scientist, Padmanarteshvara, united with the white smiling angel, manifesting in space holding chopper and skull bowl. May the mind scientist host protect all beings. Aham. In my throat beatific wheel's southern petal, there is the clear, yellow life lord great scientist, united with the yellow smiling angel, manifesting in space, holding chopper and skull bowl. May the excellent scientists protect all beings. Aham. In my throat beatific wheel's western petal, there is the clear, red great seal great scientist, united with the red smiling angel, manifesting in space, holding chopper and skull bowl. May the speech scientists protect all beings. Aham. In my throat beatific wheel's northern petal, there is the clear, green effortless great scientist, united with the green, fierce smiling angel, manifesting in space, holding chopper and skull bowl. May the miracle scientists protect all beings. Aham. To the entire scientist hero and angel host, I bow, offer, take refuge, and pray. When I and others transit from life, just after leaving the body, when those reality between visions dawn, when I roam the life cycle through powerful instincts, on the light path of the clear orgasmic wisdom, may the hero scientists guide my path. May the Supreme Mother Angel host support me from behind. May they deliver me from the straits of terror of the between. May they carry me to the pure angelic worlds. Aham. In this time of abiding in the life between, the scientist heroes and angels, in the palace of my body's throat beatific wheel, sit vividly in bodies made of the 5 lights. When I and others transit from life, just after leaving the body, may the scientist deity host emerge from within my throat. May they arise and fill the space before me. May they manifest music and dancing. May they shake and energize the whole universe. With their orgasmic wisdom light path of brilliant penetrating rays, when the animal delusion path arises, may the scientist deity host's compassion not be feeble. May they bring me back from the path of animal delusion. May they lead beings to the path of orgasmic wisdom. May they care for me compassionately, to recognize the reality of the between. May they consecrate me to become a scientist bodhisattva. The fierce deity interior mandala. In the following, you visualize the fierce deities in the center and 4 directions of your brain center. You begin with the dark brown Kemcha Karuka and his consort Kratashvari, who is a fierce form of the all-good Samantabhadra Buddha and consort, and the personified essence of all fierce Buddha deities. For further descriptions of these fierce deities, you should refer to the fierce deity reality between 8th through 12th days, this page, and color plates 6 and 8. Aham. On my Vajrasattva crown, in the palace of my brain's skull mansion, in the radiant vastness of the rainbow flame mass drop, sit the bodies of the Haruka deity host. Aham. In the central petal of my brain's skull mansion, in the radiant vastness of the rainbow flame mass drop, stands the all-good Kemchak Haruka, with 3 faces, dark brown, white, and red, and 6 arms, the right 3 holding Vajra, Khatvanga, and small javelin, the left 3 holding bell, bloody spear, and intestine noose, united in indivisible bliss with Kratishvari. May the Lord Father Mother lead all beings. Aham. Upon a throne in the central petal of my brain skull mansion, in the radiant vastness of the rainbow flame mass drop, stands the Vairocana Buddha Haruka, with 3 faces, dark brown, white, and red, and 6 arms, the right 3 holding wheel, axe, and sword, the left 3 holding bell, mirror, and bloody spear, united in indivisible bliss with Buddha Krati. May the blissful Haruka clan lead all beings. Aham. Upon a throne in the eastern petal of my brain skull mansion, in the radiant vastness of the rainbow flame mass drop, stands the Vajrasattva Vajra Haruka, with 3 faces, dark blue, white, and red, and 6 arms, the right 3 holding Vajra, spear, and axe, the left 3 holding bell, bloody spear, and mirror, united in indivisible bliss with Vajrakratishvari. May the Vajra Haruka clan lead all beings. Aham. Upon a throne in the southern petal of my brain's skull mansion, in the radiant vastness of the rainbow flame mass drop, stands the Ratnasambhava Ratna Haruka, with 3 faces, dark yellow, white, and red, and 6 arms, the right 3 holding jewel, Khatvanga, and club, the left 3 holding bell, bloody spear, and trident, united in indivisible bliss with Ratnakratishvari. May the Ratna Haruka clan lead all beings. Aham. Upon a throne in the western petal of my brain's skull mansion, in the radiant vastness of the rainbow flame mass drop, stands the Amitabha Padma Haruka, with 3 faces, dark red, white, and blue, and 6 arms, the right 3 holding lotus, Khatvanga, and rod, the left 3 holding bell, bloody spear, and dart, united in indivisible bliss with Padmakratishvari. May the Padma Haruka clan lead all beings. Aham. Upon a throne in the northern petal of my brain's skull mansion, in the radiant vastness of the rainbow flame mass drop, stands the Amagasiddhi Karma Haruka, with 3 faces, dark green, white, and red, and 6 arms, the right 3 holding sword, Khatvanga, and rod, the left 3 holding bell, bloody spear, and mirror, united in indivisible bliss with Karmakratishvari. May the Karma Haruka clan lead all beings. Aham. To the 12 Haruka lords and ladies, I bow, offer, take refuge, and pray. When I and others transit from this life, just after leaving the body, when those reality between visions dawn, when I roam the life cycle through powerful false perceptions, on the light path of the clear full 5 wisdoms, may the Haruka Fury Kings guide my path. May the realm goddess Fury host support me from behind. May they deliver me from the straits of terror of the between. May they carry me to perfect Buddhahood. Aham. In the light vastness of the eastern petal of my skull mansion, stands a white gory, holding a skeleton club and a skull bowl. In the light vastness of the southern petal of my skull mansion, a yellow chori holds a bow and arrow and throws an impaling stick. In the light vastness of the western petal of my skull mansion, a red pramoha holds a sea monster victory standard. In the light vastness of the northern petal of my skull mansion, a black Vitali holds a vajra and a skull bowl. In the light vastness of the southeastern petal of my skull mansion, an orange Picasso devours fresh intestines. In the light vastness of the southwestern petal of my skull mansion, a dark green Gismari shakes a vajra and a skull bowl. In the light vastness of the northwestern petal of my skull mansion, a light yellow Chandali eats a heart and holds a headless body. In the light vastness of the northeastern petal of my skull mansion, a dark blue Shmashani holds and eats a headless body. Amaham. To the 8 gory goddesses of the holy grounds, I bow, offer, take refuge, and pray. When I and others transit from this life, just after leaving the body, when those relative between visions dawn, when I roam the life cycle through powerful false perceptions, on the light path of the clear sound, light, and rays, may the 4 gory goddesses guide my path. May the 4 Picasso goddesses support me from behind. May they deliver me from the straits of terror of the between. May they carry me to perfect Buddhahood. Amaham. On the outer eastern petal of my skull mansion, a dark brown, lion-faced Samhasya holds a corpse in her mouth. On the outer southern petal of my skull mansion, a red tiger-faced Vyagrasya stands with her 2 arms folded. On the outer western petal of my skull mansion, a black, jackal-faced Shrgalasya eats intestines. On the outer northern petal of my skull mansion, a dark blue, wolf-faced Shvanasya rends a corpse. On the outer southeastern petal of my skull mansion, a pale yellow, vulture-faced Gridrasya eats a corpse draped over her shoulder. On the outer southwestern petal of my skull mansion, a dark red, hawk-faced Kankasya carries a flayed human skin. On the outer northwestern petal of my skull mansion, a black, crow-faced Kakasya holds a skull bowl and a knife. On the outer northeastern petal of my skull mansion, a light blue, owl-faced Ulyakasya holds a vajra. To these 8 Simha ghouls of the holy places, I bow, offer, take refuge, and pray. When I and others transit from life, just after leaving the body, when those relative between visions dawn, when I roam the life cycle through powerful false perceptions, on the light path of all visions being the 8 holy places, may the 4 Simha ghouls guide my path. May the 4 Grudra ghouls support me from behind. May they deliver me from the straits of terror of the between. May they carry me to perfect Buddhahood. Amaham. On the eastern gate petal of my skull mansion, a white, horse-faced Ankusha holds a goat in a skull bowl. On the southern gate petal of my brain skull mansion, a yellow, pig-faced Pasha holds a noose in the skull bowl. On the western gate petal of my brain skull mansion, a red, lion-faced Shrinkala holds a chain in the skull bowl. On the northern gate petal of my brain skull mansion, a green, serpent-faced Ganta holds a bell and a skull bowl. To the 4 wisdom-emanated female door guardians, I bow, offer, take refuge, and pray. When I and others transit from this life, just after leaving the body, when those reality between visions dawn, when I roam the life cycle through powerful false perceptions, to block the doors of the errors of the four types of rebirth. May they open the doors of the four pure miraculous activities. May Ankusha and Pasha guide my path. May Shankala and Ganta support me from behind. May they deliver me from the straits of terror of the between. May they carry me to perfect Buddhahood. Amaham. On the small channels outside the eastern gate of my skull mansion, the six powerful, peacemaking yajanas appear. The white, yak-faced Rakshasi holding a Vajra, the pale yellow, snake-faced Brahmi holding a lotus, the pale green, leopard-faced Maheshvari holding a trident, the pale blue, monkey-faced Labha holding a wheel, the pink mule-faced Kumari holding a pike, and the white, bare-headed Indrani holding an intestinus. May these six yajanas arise from the east, make peace, and accomplish the activities of eradicating the terrors of the between. Amaham. On the small channels outside the southern gate of my skull mansion, the six powerful magnifying yajanas appear. The yellow, bat-faced Vajra holding a razor, the orange, sea monster-faced Shanti holding a vase, the orange, scorpion-faced Amrita holding a lotus, the pale yellow, hawk-faced Chandra holding a Vajra, the yellow-green, fox-faced Gata holding a rod, and the yellow-black, tiger-faced Rakshasi drinking blood from a skull bowl. May these six magnifying yajanas arise from the south and accomplish the activities of expanding wisdom in the between. Amaham. On the small channels outside the western gate of my skull mansion, the six powerful dominating yajanas appear. The red-green, vulture-faced Bakshasi holding a club, the red, horse-faced Trati holding the trunk of a human corpse, the pink, eagle-faced Mahabali holding a rod, the red, dog-faced Rakshasi holding a Vajra, the red, hoopoe-faced Kama shooting arrow from a bow, and the red-green, deer-headed Vasaraksha holding a vase. May these six dominating yajanas arise from the west and accomplish the activities of facilitating freedom in the between. Amaham. On the small channels outside the northern gate of my skull mansion, the six powerful destroying yajanas appear. The blue-green, wolf-faced Vayavi waving a banner, the green-red ibex-headed Narini holding an impaling stick, the dark green, pig-faced Barahi holding a noose made of tusks, the green-red, crow-faced Rati holding the flayed skin of a child, the dark green, elephant-faced Mahanasi holding a human corpse, and the blue-green, snake-faced Barimi holding a snake noose. May these six terrifying yajanas arise from the north and accomplish the activities of destroying misperceptions in the between. Amaham. In the eastern gate of my skull mansion, the white, cuckoo-faced Vajra holds a goad. In the skull mansion southern gate, the yellow, goat-faced Vajra holds a noose. In the western gate, a red, lion-faced Vajra holds a chain. In the northern gate, a green, snake-faced Vajra holds a bell. May these four powerful female guardians who do the work of emanation accomplish the activities of blocking the doors of birth. Amaham. To these 28 powerful yajanas, I bow, offer, take refuge, and pray. When I and others transit from this life, just after leaving the body, when those reality between visions dawn, when I roam the life cycle through powerful false perceptions, on the light path of the brilliant sounds, lights, and rays. May the seven eastern goddesses guide my path. May the seven southern goddesses support me from behind. May the seven western goddesses sustain me from the borders. May the 7 northern goddesses destroy and liberate. May they deliver me from the straits of terror of the between. May they carry me to perfect Buddhahood. Aham. In this time of abiding in the life between, the 60 Haruka deities in the palace of the brain skull mansion on my crown stand vividly in their bodies formed of the 5 light rays. When I and others transit from this life, just after leaving the body, may the Haruka deities emerge from within the brain and arise, filling entirely the world of the 3 billion universes, well adorned and equipped, lords and companions terrifying in demeanor, their fierce bodies in the vastness of sounds, lights and rays, with accoutrements of charm, bravery, and terror, sounding the roar of wildness, fatality, and ferocity. Blazing with the wrath of compassion, savagery, and fury, decorated with smears of bone ash, blood, and grease, wearing blood-dripping hides and tiger-skin skirts, adorned with skull garlands, snake sashes, and blazing with masses of flames, rumbling with the 1,000 thunders, ha ha hum fat. Strike. Kill. They move about manifesting various heads and various implements. They shake the billion worlds in various ways. All their sounds, light rays, and energies are terrifying in appearance. When all these arise before me, may the compassionate fierce Haruka deity host not stint of their compassion. When I roam the life cycle through powerful instincts, on the light path of abandoning visions of anguish, panic, and terror, may the fierce Haruka host guide my path. May the fierce goddess host support me from behind. May the Gorian Simhador goddesses sustain me from the borders. May the 8 great uplifting goddesses uplift me from the holy places. May the animal-faced goddess host eliminate obstacles. May the 4 great female door guardians block the doors of rebirth. May they deliver me from the straits of terror of the between. May they carry me to perfect Buddhahood. Aham. When I leave my loved ones and wander off alone, and empty forms arise in my perception, may the Buddhas exert the force of their compassion and prevent the debilitating terrors of the between. When that brilliant wisdom light path dawns, may I recognize it as my own reality, free of fear and panic. When the mild and ferocious body forms arise, with fearless confidence, may I recognize the reality of the between. If I experience suffering under the influence of negative evolution, may the archetype deity clear all misery away. If the natural sound of reality thunders like 1,000 dragons, may it just become the sound of the Mahayana Dharma. When I follow evolution without refuge, may the great compassion Lord give refuge to me and others. When the instinct body suffers, may the samadhi of clear light bliss arise. May I not hate as enemies the realms of the 5 elements, but behold them as the pure realms of the 5 Buddha clans. By the power of the blessings of the mentors of the esoteric tradition, the compassion of the fabulous mild and fierce deity host, and my own pure high resolve, may everything I have prayed for be accomplished. It would be ideal if, before using this text, you found a qualified Lama as mentor, learned some basic preliminaries, and received permission or initiation to use these visualizations. In circumstances where that is not possible yet, but there is a basically respectful and positive attitude, it is all right to work on your own to become more familiar with the between deities, to prepare yourself for the between experience. The key to using this Dharma practice successfully is continual repetition. When you first recite this and try to visualize it, You feel lost and uncomfortable. You find it difficult to visualize anything. You find the names and deities unfamiliar. Your mind wanders away from your heart, throat, and brain centers. You feel worried, inadequate, confused, and perhaps irritated. Relax. Make color Xeroxes of the color plates and set them up in a pleasant space where you like to meditate. Resolve to read it quietly again and again. Think that the deities are there whether you notice them or not. After all, your rib cage is there, and how often do you think about it, rib by rib? As you read each paragraph, look at the corresponding picture and try to imagine your Vajrasattva light body as containing that deity in that spot. Even a small flash of color, a rough outline of a form, is progress. As you continue, you will feel more and more at home with the practice and, most important, more familiar with the various deities. Don't set yourself any strict goals. Don't hope for any peak experiences or fantastic visions, and don't get attached or make claims about it if anything pleasant does happen. The big peak experience awaits us all after death, and the between the point is to be ready. Try to practice a little bit at a time. A secret is to always quit the practice when you're still enjoying it. Don't strain yourself to do as much as possible each time, or you will find yourself vaguely reluctant to start again the next session. If you work on this practice in this steady and persistent way, you will feel more prepared for anything bit by bit. Try also to memorize or familiarize yourself with the between prayers and verses, study all parts of the natural liberation, and learn as much as possible about Buddhism and Tibetan civilization. It will be enjoyable and beneficial. May this bring happiness and good luck to all. Chapter 8. The Natural Liberation Through Naked Vision, Identifying the Intelligence. The naked vision provides a summary of the philosophical and contemplative doctrines of the Great Perfection, considered the supreme and highest tantra in the Nyingma order, and foundational in the teachings of the Book of Natural Liberation. I include this, even though it has been translated before, because it is such a beautiful text, because its study will enhance the reader's understanding of the whole natural liberation, and because I happen to like it very much. Even though it expresses the highest and most advanced teaching, it has the special virtue for the general reader of making the metaphysical view of Buddhism accessible. This text is philosophical, rather than experiential in the way of most of the Book of Natural Liberation. It concerns the profound reality underlying the teaching, indeed, making possible liberation itself. It teaches radical non-duality, the immediate and liberating presence of ultimate reality in the here and now, and the actuality of peace, security, benevolence, and bliss. This is especially healing in our modern culture, where some current interpretations of religions tend to devalue our immediate experience of life, and secularism reduces all to meaningless matter. Studying the naked vision will enhance the reader's understanding of all the other instructions of the Book of Natural Liberation. It conveys pure wisdom, that which finally is indispensable in the realization of true freedom. Homage to the three-bodied deity, intelligence's natural clarity. Naked vision is liberated intuition, unmediated experience. It can function when all conceptual direction, both conscious thought orientation and unconscious ingrained prejudice, has been thoroughly suspended. The central notion is that all deity is the natural clarity of intelligence itself. All positive awareness, love, confidence, stability, power, clarity, and goodness, the strong force of the universe, is itself our bare intelligence. Our task then is to strip away all confusions and distorted programmings and let our natural goodness be there, to find our own natural security in our actual deepest reality. Here is taught the natural liberation through naked vision, identifying the intelligence, from the profound teaching of the natural liberation through contemplating the mild and fierce Buddha deities. Thus identifying your own intelligence, contemplate it well, O fortunate child. Samaya Jaya Jaya Jaya. This expression reminds us that this teaching is esoteric, sealed by a vow and protected by angelic beings. The reason it has been traditionally kept a secret is not because of some elitism or stinginess on the part of enlightened teachers. It has been kept secret because it can easily be misunderstood by the uneducated, misunderstood as meaning that there are no efforts to be made toward freedom, that all ethical restraint, virtue, and mental development are really unnecessary, and that anything goes. When the raw egotist feels thus that his impulses should be allowed unchecked sway, that person tends to become harmful to himself and to others. However, after a person has cultivated detachment from blind passion, freedom from reactive hatred, and insight into the relativity of all attitudes and states of personality, this simple teaching no longer needs to be sealed away by angels. It becomes readily available. In modern society, particularly societies influenced by ideologies that teach that reality is either evil and threatening or neutral and ultimately meaningless, the literate public has the right to hear this radically positive teaching. The quintessence Maho. This expresses wonder and joy. The one mind that pervades all life and liberation, though it is the primal nature, it is not recognized. Though its bright intelligence is uninterrupted, it is not faced. Though it ceaselessly arises everywhere, it is not recognized. To make known just this objective nature, the 3 times victors proclaimed the inconceivable 84,000 Dharma teachings, teaching none other than this realization. Though scriptures are measureless as the sky, their import is 3 words identifying intelligence. This direct introduction to the intention of the victors, just this is the entry into freedom from progression. This simple teaching, the 3 words, this is it, is the final point of all the other teachings of all the Buddhas. Their inconceivable compassion responds with every variety and complexity of therapy required by the variety and complexity of human self-entanglement. But the bottom line is that all goodness, wisdom, and peace is here and now in every atom and instant of being. The need for this identification Kai Ho. This calls us to attention, to a joyful alertness. Fortunate children, listen here. Mind, though this great word is so well known, people do not know it wrongly or only partially. And by their not understanding its reality precisely, they come up with inconceivable philosophical claims. The common, alienated individual, not realizing this, by not understanding her own nature on her own, suffers roaming through 6 life forms in 3 realms. Such is the fault of not realizing this reality of the mind. We spend our lives trying to make ends meet, seeking to inform ourselves about what we need to know to succeed in the tasks we think essential to survival. But we have spent countless lifetimes suffering the loss of everything again and again, all because we have not realized what it is that we ourselves actually are. We have thought we were absolute life centers, struggling against a hostile environment, trying to prolong our existence against all odds. We never recognized that our very intelligence itself is the same as the strong force that holds all things together, that we have always essentially been one with our highest fulfillment, our ultimate possible goal. So we always feared, fought, struggled, suffered, and put our effort into the exactly opposite direction. Disciples and hermit Buddhas claim realization of a partial selflessness, but do not know this exactly. Bound up in claims from their treatises and theories, they do not behold clear light transparency. Disciples and hermit Buddhas are the two kinds of individual vehicle saints. They have become genuinely liberated from a certain level of false self-addiction. They have developed true insight into reality. But their insight is not complete. Their instincts are still distorted, and they cannot melt down from all coarse and subtle structures into the transparency of ultimate reality. Disciples and hermits are shut out by clinging to subject and object. Centrists are shut out by extremism about the two realities, ritual and performance. Tantrists by extremism in service and practice, and great, maha, and pervasive, anu, tantrists by clinging to the duality of realm and intelligence. They err by remaining dualistic and non-duality. By not communing non-dually, they do not awaken. All life and liberation inseparable from their own minds, they still roam the life cycle on vehicles of quitting and choosing. Padmasambhava critiques the individualists for their perceptual dualism about subject and object. He critiques the universalists, Mahayanists, who prefer the philosophy of centrism founded by Nagarjuna, for their overemphasis on either the relative or the ultimate reality, or even over-fondness of the two-reality scheme itself. He critiques the ritualistic tantric practitioners for their dualistic attitudes about the separation between themselves and the deities they invoke in their rituals and visualizations. He critiques the higher, more yogic tantrists for remaining dualistic about the difference between their own minds and the diamond realm of perfection of the great mandalas, or pure environments. Therefore, absorbing all created things in your free inaction, realize the great natural liberation of all things from this teaching of natural liberation, through naked seeing of your own intelligence. Thus, in the great perfection, everything is perfect. Here he sets the ultimate, Adi, tantrists, the adepts of natural liberation, at the apex of all vehicles, engaged in the subtlest practice of non-practice. Of achievement of non-duality by radical immersion in immediacy without dualistic effort. This is the teaching of the great perfection. Samaya Jaya Jaya Jaya. The detailed identification. Mind. This bright process of intelligence, in one way exists and in another way does not. It is the origin of the pleasure and pain of life and liberation. It is accepted as essential to the 11 vehicles of liberation. Again, the mind exists as the fundamental intelligence of reality, the essential void transparency that is the immovable strong force of the multiverse. But in another sense, it cannot be said to exist, since there is ultimately nothing other than it. It stands out from no other non-existent. It is the universal unity of the ultimate reality. The 11 vehicles is not the usual 9 vehicles mentioned by Padmasambhava, which include the 3 exoteric vehicles, the 3 lower tantras, and the 3 highest tantras. It rather refers as a general number to the many vehicles, non-Buddhist as well as Buddhist, that take one to liberation. Immediately following there are 11 names of mind, used in different Indian schools of thought. Each of these names is used by a different vehicle. Its names are countless in various contexts. Some call this mind the mind reality. Some fundamentalists call it self. Some disciples call it selflessness. Idealists call it by the name of mind. Some call it transcendent wisdom. Some call it the Buddha nature. Some call it the Great Seal. Some call it the soul drop. Some call it the truth realm. Some call it the foundation. Some call it the ordinary. It is hard to distinguish these 11 different types, though they seem to refer, respectively, to our author, Hindu philosophers, Buddhist individualists, idealists, centrists, immanentists, 3 types of tantric adepts, idealistic tantrics, and our author again. The 3-point entrance. To introduce the 3-point entrance to this itself realize past awareness as trackless, clear, and void, future awareness as unproduced and new, and present awareness as staying natural, uncontrived. The 3 points here seems to refer to the threefold deconstruction of the 3 times, past, present, and future, freeing oneself from the reification of the passage of time in order to enter into timeless awareness. Thus, knowing time in its very ordinary way, when you nakedly regard yourself, your looking is transparent, nothing to be seen. This is naked, immediate, clear intelligence. This is a quick resolution of the double-bind meditation of looking for the self, which generates an insight meditation, an internal spinning sensation that becomes the diamond drill of critical wisdom that cuts through all seeming substantialities of apparent intrinsically identifiable self, leading to the realization of voidness and the experience of freedom. It is clear voidness with nothing established, purity of clarity, voidness, non-duality, not permanent, free of any intrinsic status, not annihilated, bright and distinct, not a unity, multi-discerning clarity, without plurality, indivisible, one in taste, not derivative, self-aware, it is this very reality. This passage recalls Nagarjuna's famous opening verse from his wisdom, in which he sets forth the 8 special qualifications of ultimate reality, not ceased, not produced, not permanent, not annihilated, and so on. This objective identification of the actuality of things contains complete in one the indivisible 3 bodies. The truth body, the voidness free of intrinsic status, the beatific body, bright with freedom's natural energy, the emanation body ceaselessly arising everywhere. Its reality is these 3 complete in one. Here, Padma indicates how the 3 bodies of perfect Buddhahood are present in everything and cannot be excluded from transparency, from the infinite non-duality of universal perfection. Thus, the entrance herein is not just a mental leap into a subtle realm of blissful aloofness, but into a pure immediacy, a total presence that expands infinitely into contact with all reality, beyond the duality of simplicity and complexity. The forceful method. To introduce the forceful method to enter this very reality, your own awareness right now is just this. It being just this uncontrived natural clarity. Why do you say, I don't understand the nature of the mind? As here there is nothing to meditate upon, in just this uninterrupted clarity intelligence, why do you say, I don't see the actuality of the mind? Since the thinker in the mind is just it, why do you say, even searching I can't find it? Since here there is nothing to be done, why do you say, whatever I do, it doesn't succeed? As it is sufficient to stay put uncontrived, why do you say, I can't stay still? As it is all right to be content with inaction, why do you say, I am not able to do it? Since clear, aware, and void are automatically indivisible, why do you say, practice is not effective? Since it is natural, spontaneous, free of cause and condition, why do you say, seeking, it cannot be found? Since thought and natural liberation are simultaneous, Why do you say remedies are impotent? Since your very intelligence is just this, why do you say, I do not know this? These expressions are quite simple, though their impact is profound. Padma challenges the ordinary thought habits through which we separate ourselves from the experience and responsibility of simply understanding our actuality, and so being invited to live according to that understanding in freedom. Be sure mind's nature is groundless voidness. Your mind is insubstantial like empty space, like it or not. Look at your own mind. Not fastening to the view of annihilative voidness, be sure spontaneous wisdom has always been clear, spontaneous in itself like the essence of the sun, like it or not. Look at your own mind. Be sure that intelligent wisdom is uninterrupted, like a continuous current of a river, like it or not. Look at your own mind. Be sure it will not be known by thinking various reasons, its movement insubstantial like breezes in the sky, like it or not. Look at your own mind. Be sure that what appears is your own perception. Appearance is natural perception, like a reflection in a mirror, like it or not. Look at your own mind. Be sure that all signs are liberated on the spot, self-originated, self-delivered, like clouds in sky, like it or not. Look at your own mind. There is no thing not included in the mind. Where is meditation other than from the mind? There is no thing not included in the mind. There is no teaching to practice other than mind practice. There is no thing not included in the mind. There is no commitment to maintain outside the mind. There is no thing not included in the mind. There is no goal to be achieved outside the mind. Look again. Look again. Look at your own mind. Looking out there into the realm of space, the mind will not emanate its reflections. Looking here within your own mind, there is no emanator of mind's emanations. Your mind is clarity without hallucinations. It is the truth body, self-aware, clear light voidness, cloudless and translucent like sunrise in the sky, unrestricted by forms. It is clearly known everywhere. Whether you realize this point or not makes a great difference. This primally unproduced, spontaneous clear light, a wonder that this awareness child lacks parents. This spontaneous wisdom, a wonder no one made it. Having never known a birth, a wonder it can never die. Obviously clear, a wonder it lacks a seer. Wandering in the cycle, a wonder it is not real evil. Beholding Buddhahood, a wonder it is not real good. Being everywhere, a wonder it does not know reality. Beyond this, a wonder it hopes for other fruits. It being yourself, a wonder you seek it elsewhere. Ema. This brilliant thingless, now awareness, just this is the pinnacle of all views. This non-perceiving, universal, total freedom, just this is the pinnacle of all meditation. This uncontrived, relaxed approach to life, just this is the pinnacle of all conduct. This unsought, primal, effortless achievement. Just this is the pinnacle of accomplishments. The four inerrancies and four nails. The teaching of the universal vehicle's four inerrancies. This great vehicle is unerring in view, as it is this brilliant now awareness, called vehicle since clear and unerring. This great vehicle is unerring in meditation, as it is this brilliant now awareness, called vehicle since clear and unerring. This great vehicle is unerring in conduct, as it is this brilliant now wisdom, called vehicle since clear and unerring. This great vehicle is unerring in fruition, as it is this brilliant now awareness, called vehicle since clear and unerring. Teaching the four great nails of changelessness. This great nail of changeless view is just this brilliant conscious now awareness, called nail since firm in the three times. This great nail of changeless meditation is just this brilliant conscious now awareness, called nail since firm in the three times. This great nail of changeless conduct is just this brilliant conscious now awareness, called nail since firm in the three times. This great nail of changeless fruition is just this brilliant conscious now awareness, called nail since firm in the three times. The oneness of times. The instruction teaching oneness of three times. Abandon the notion past, not following former traces, sever mental connections, not following future plans, hold not the now, stay in the experience of space. Free of meditation, do not meditate on anything, rely on mindfulness, undistracted without distraction, free of concentration and distraction, nakedly behold. Self-aware, self-knowing, self-clear brilliance, just that arising is enlightened spirit unmeditatable, beyond being object of knowledge, undistractable, natural bright clarity. Vision voidness natural liberation is brilliant void body of truth. Realizing Buddhahood is not achieved by paths Vajrasattva is beheld right now. Views, meditations, ethics, fruitions. The instruction to terminate the six extremes. Though there is a huge number of discordant views, in this self-aware mind, this self-original wisdom, there is no duality of view and viewed. Seek the viewer in viewing and not viewing. When the viewer is sought it is not found, so then the end of views is reached. The impact of the view comes down just to that. In the total absence of any view to view, don't sink to the false void of utter nothing. The clear brilliance of self-aware now consciousness, just that is the view of great perfection. Here, there is no realizing not realizing duality. Though there is a huge number of discordant meditations, on the straight-up path of self-aware common consciousness, there is no duality of meditation and meditated. Seeking the agent of meditating and not meditating, when you seek the meditator and do not find it, then the end of meditations has been reached. The impact of meditation comes down just to that. In the utter absence of meditation and meditated, don't succumb to the wild darkness of delusion. In the clear brilliance of uncontrived now consciousness, that is the uncontrived and balanced contemplation. Here, there is no abiding non-abiding dualism. Though there is a huge number of discordant ethics, in the exclusive drop of self-aware wisdom, there is no duality of actor and acted. Seek the agent of acting and not acting, seeking that actor itself, it is not found, then you reach the end of ethical actions. The essence of ethics comes down just to that. In that utter absence of action and acted, don't succumb to the errors of impulsive instinct. In the uncontrived clear brilliance of now consciousness, without choosing or being deceived by contrivance, just that is the perfect ethical action, free of the dualism of perfect and imperfect. Though there is a huge number of discordant fruitions, in the self-aware mind, itself the effortless three bodies, there is no duality of attained and attaining. Seek the attainer itself of the fruition. Seeking that attainer itself, it is not found, thus the end of projected fruitions is reached. The essence of fruition comes down just to that. In that utter absence of attainment of fruition, don't succumb to worry about abandoning an undertaking. This effortless clear brilliance of self-aware now consciousness is itself the realization of the manifest three bodies. It is itself the fruition of the primal Buddhahood. This knowing, free of eight extremes like being and nothing, is called the center, not collapsed in any extreme. It is called uninterrupted mindful, aware intelligence. As it has the essence of voidness and awareness, it is named the essence of the blissful lords. If you know this import, you transcend everything, so it is called transcendent wisdom. Since it surpasses mind, free of limit and origin, it is called the Great Seal. Thus, realizing it or not realizing it is the foundation of liberation and bound life, happiness and suffering, so it is called the universal foundation. Since it abides in nothing special, the inner space of the normal, that very distinct, brilliant consciousness itself, is given the name normal consciousness. Whatever well-conceived poetic name it may be given, in fact, other than just this self-aware now consciousness, who would want anything more? Like looking for its tracks when you have the elephant, scanning the whole universe, it's impossible to find. Except through mind, it's impossible to reach Buddhahood. Not recognizing this, if you seek mind outside, looking for something else, how can it find itself? It is like a fool gawking at a crowd, forgetting himself among them, not recognizing himself, looking for himself, mistaking others for himself. If you do not see the basic reality of things, not knowing your perceptions as your mind, you deliver yourself to the life cycle. Not seeing your mind as Buddha, you obscure nirvana. Life and liberation, by knowing and not knowing, in an instant there is no distinction between them. Seeing one's mind as elsewhere is an error, but erring and not erring are actually the same. A being has no second continuum of mind. When mind is left in itself unmade, it's free. If you don't know error itself as mind, you'll never realize the impact of reality. Self-arisen, self-created, self looks into self. These visions first arise from where? Where do they stay in the meanwhile? Finally, where do they go? It's like a crow's reflection in a pond. It flies up from the pond, but the reflection doesn't leave. So perceptions arise from the mind, rising from the mind, they are freed in the mind. Mind is all. Mind itself, this clear void all-knowing, all-aware, it is like sky, primal clarity, voidness indivisible. And the clarity of original intuitive wisdom, just that determination is reality. The reason is that all appearance and existence is known as your own mind, and this mind itself is realized, space-like, in its intelligence and clarity. Though the example of space refers to reality, it is just a symbol that rather partially does so. Mind itself is universally clear, void, and intelligent. And space is unintelligent void, free of solid objects. Thus space cannot fully illustrate the import of mind. Do not vacillate, but focus on mind's actual reality. All the superficial appearance is exclusively truth status free, like fear. For example, all appearance and existence, life and liberation, is beheld uniquely as your natural mind. Then, just by transforming the process of your mind, you can perceive your transformation of the outer world. Therefore everything is the perception of the mind. The 6 migrations each have their specific perceptions. The outsider fundamentalists have their absolutisms and nihilisms. The 9 vehicles each have their individual views. Seeing variety, distinguishing variety, they err by holding dichotomies and clinging to distinctions. All appearances understood as mind, seeing all without any grasping, one awakens. One does not err by perceiving, one errs by clinging, but knowing clinging itself as mind, it frees itself. All you perceive is the perception of mind, apparent inanimate objects of environment are mind. Apparent animate 6 kinds of beings are mind. Apparent happiness of higher humans and gods are mind. Apparent horrid states sufferings are mind. Apparent misknowing 5 addictive poisons are mind. Apparent original wisdom intelligence is mind. Apparent realization of goodness and liberation are mind. Apparent obstructions of devils and ghosts are mind. Apparent good of deities and accomplishments are mind. Apparent various purities are mind. Apparent non-conceptual, one-pointed focus is mind. Apparent things, signs and colors are mind. Apparent signless non-elaboration is mind. Apparent non-duality of one and many is mind. Apparent lack of being and nothing status is mind. Nothing is apparent outside of the mind. Mind reality ceaselessly dawns as all appearance. Dawning, non-dual like water and waves of oceans, it is liberated in the experiential reality of mind. Though names are ceaselessly designated to reference, objectively nothing exists outside the unity of mind. That unity is groundless and rootlessly free. It cannot be seen in one vision in any direction. It is not seen as something, as it is free of any status. It is not seen as void, for it shines as intelligent clarity, and it is not seen separately, void and clarity being non-dual. Now your own awareness is clear and distinct, though it acts so, an agent is not known. Though free of intrinsic reality, experiences are perceived. If you practice this, you will be fully liberated. You will realize regardless of the sharpness of your faculties. Though both sesame and milk produce oil or butter, they will not without pressing or churning. Though all beings are the actual essence of Buddhahood, they won't awaken without practice. With practice, even a cowherd will awaken, though he can't explain, he can directly determine. Tasting the sugar in your mouth, you don't need others to explain it. If they don't understand this reality, even pandits will err. Though they're expert in explaining the 9 vehicles, it's like giving directions from hearsay to where they've never been. They haven't been even close to Buddhahood for an instant. If you realize this reality, you're naturally free from virtue and vice. If you don't, all your virtues and vices bring lives in heavens or hells. Just realizing your mind as void intuitive wisdom, virtue and vice cannot enforce their effects. Just as a fountain cannot spring forth from empty sky, so virtue and vice are objectified in voidness. Therefore, to see intuitively your own naked intelligence, this natural liberation through naked vision is extremely deep. So investigate this reality of your own intelligence. Profound. Sealed. Ema. Oh wonder, identifying intelligence, the natural liberation through naked vision, is for the benefit of later generations of beings in the decadent era, as I compassed all my tantras, scriptures, and instructions, however few and brief, with them in mind. Though I teach them now, I conceal them as treasures may those with good evolution come to discover them. Samaya Jaya Jaya Jaya. This treat is clearly identifying intelligence, called the natural liberation through naked vision, compassed by the abbot from Adhyana, Padmasambhava. May it never be lost until the end of the life cycle. And that's not all. Our experts and regular viewers respond to all comments. Also check if you forgot to subscribe and set your bell to receive notifications about new audiobooks and other useful self-development materials that we release regularly. Join in the discussions, don't forget to give likes and, if possible and inspired, support the development of the channel financially. All useful links will be in the description and the first attached comment. Goodness, love and wisdom to all. And now move on to watch the next part of the video at the links below, or choose something from the playlists of the channel and those you see on the screen.